Very, thank you so much, sir, for the compliment. But now the condition is little different. Like everybody is, because we are all human beings. No? After lunch we know how it would be. Hope so. Challenge is also before me. Okay. Welcome back to the afternoon session on strategic management and future trends that would impact supply chain management. So for our information, supply chain management is a general and a concept overall to the organization. In the beginning, supply chain management, when it was started practiced by the organizations, it was confined, its scope was confined only to the physical movement of materials and the connectivity among all those involved, customer, retailers, wholesalers, stock points, warehousing departments, inventory departments, on the other side, suppliers and their satellite organizations, and the organizations' main ancillary units and so on. As the time passed by, the supply chain management took a broader scope and a wider coverage with more activities, critical activities, and complex activities involved in it. Hence, the concept of supply chain emerged as an important function of organization or management, even more significant than the basic functional areas like finance, marketing, HR, production, and so on. Now, when we look at the scope of supply chain management, it encompasses visible, invisible, physical, and non-physical areas of organization's activities, which includes the communication and e-governance, e-technology, IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, robo like introduction, and several such kind of new dimensions in technology, very particularly information technology and IoT, which have created a sort of new challenge to supply chain management. And therefore, because of this enhanced scope and because of this wider coverage of the definition of supply chain management, as it takes support from all the activities, all the functions of organization, and in turn, it influenced every aspect of management. There are live examples in industry where the vision and the mission of organizations have been redrafted because of changes in supply chain management. Sometime back, about 2 decades back, we focused more on physical product, its properties, and their usage to customers. Later on, we thought it is not just a physical product, we need after-sales service, which is also important. As the technology created technology-intensive products, even domestic, for example. When you buy a floor cleaning machine, it's not just buying that is enough, but you need to have continuous support from the company in the form of after-sales service. So 3 months once servicing or warranty, guarantee, this, that, and everything. If all those things are absent, and if you still find a physical machine that is available, customer doesn't want to buy it because it doesn't have it. Similarly, when you look at wonderful examples like automobile, you don't generally, the consumer behavior is that we don't buy a car or a brand of a car which doesn't have any service center in our locality. The biggest wonderful example is world famous car Volkswagen. They don't have service centers everywhere except in certain locations. But the customers are widespread. In a place where there is no service center, however great the car may be, customer doesn't like to buy it because foreseeing the future problems with the car and the nearby support. So, the second stage of consumer behavior was focused on after-sales service, a product with service. And the third stage is information about the product. Information leaflet. Product, service, after-sales service, and the third important is as the technology intensity has gained momentum, customer requires how to operate a machine, how to reinstall the parts, and how to check its functionability. Then we thought, the customer demanded information along with the product became important. How to assemble, how to reassemble, all these things. Then finally, we are at a stage now where it is not just information that is sufficient. I don't want to read any information. I want information about the product or service that the company is going to give. It should be available online. Everything that you want, you just with the click of a button, you get the information about the product. And your services that you require from the company can be initiated with the click of a button today. This is where the computer technology came. So when you look at the product development, market development for any product over a period of time, all these 4 stages are noticed. And today, you can buy a product sitting at home. You can service a product sitting at home. Get the services for the product. You can you can sell a product sitting at home. You can do everything with a click of a button. And of course, there are always minus points. It all depends on how we use the technology. One for destruction, yes, that can be done. And if you want to use it for good purposes, these products are invented for human betterment. But when a human himself misuses it, nobody can help. Okay, that apart, this technological marvel, technological development, advancements, created a kind of a different environment in the organizations altogether. The best example is automation of Amul, Anand Milk Union Limited. You know, Amul is very famous. You may find flies at home while like boiling the milk or keeping the milk or milk products. You don't find even a single fly in the manufacturing unit of Amul. That is a precision quality maintenance. I personally witnessed while I was in IM Ahmedabad. So we went, visited the factory. Such a wonderful 100% cleanliness. And the product is completely processed through 100% automation process. Naturally, you don't find any flies outside. Right, coming back. Now, why I am telling all this, the introduction is to understand the supply chain that has brought in vibrations in every aspect and every function of management. It is that supply chain management, when looked through the prism of strategic management, what kind of perspective changes that we need to bring in terms of strategic management, so that with a new vision, with a new design, and with a new version, that a strategic management can influence and enhance the capability of supply chain management. It is in this direction we get into the second topic called strategic management and the future trends in supply chain management that impacts the business. When we look at the definition of strategic management, which evolved in 1960s and 70s as a new concept, in fact, when somebody is thorough with strategic management, he is the best person to understand and move the organization forward. Strategic management is such a powerful function, powerful action, where the managements are supposed to have this. Sometime back in the initial stages of Indian management practices, around 1980s and 90s, the concept became very, very vibrant in India. Best examples and some of the best companies which introduced the concept for the first time was BHEL and L&T. Larsen and Toubro and Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. These are the companies, one each from public and private sector. Introduced this concept, they have gone to the extent of even creating positions like strategic management manager, general manager strategic, like that. That is the kind of importance and significance organizations looked at or realized towards the strategic management concept. For a period of time, this has become part and parcel of every organization today, where the strategy becomes a most important action by top management. What is the strategy? It is setting up long-term goals and developing policies for what? To achieve organizational objectives ultimately. Everything is surrounded and realizing the vision and mission of the state. The vision and mission of organizations. A vision of any company emerges out of the basic philosophy, basic philosophical foundation is created. If you look at the attitude of Marwadis from Rajasthan and Gujarat, they are the vibrant business people, community. If father lends money to son, it is absolutely on interest rate basis and with a time limit. Father gives 10 lakhs to son on the condition that 10 lakhs should be repaid to him within 5 years at 5% interest rate. Which means business doesn't consider relations. Business is business. That is how the Reliance came up. That is how Adanis have come up. Mafatla, Bombay Dyeing, number of companies. In fact, Amul for that matter. These are the most successful companies which are based on the fundamental philosophy of business is business. I have nothing to do with you as long as business is perfect. If business, you see, the kind of relations between two brothers. One is at the top, the other one is down. Father created wealth, gave to both of them. One is highly successful, the other one is highly failure. One doesn't care about the other. Though they have sympathies, relations, blood relations, all those things, business is business. That is the example for philosophy of the organization. On that philosophy, it can be any kind of philosophy. You see, philanthropists are also there. On the quite contrary, you see the Tata Sons. It's totally different philosophy. They are successful and these people are also successful. It depends on how effectively you carry your philosophy forward. It's important. Ratan Tata donated most of his wealth, and whereas Ambani retained most of his wealth. One side donation, the other side retention. Naturally, he became the most number one richest person in the country or in the world also. So these are basically the philosophical results on which the business entities are created. Now, based on from the philosophy, the vision comes. Vision is a clear description of the organization's future as to what it should reach to. Mission is action completely. Action oriented, when a vision is articulated, it becomes a mission. So vision and mission are the primary sources for strategic management. After mission, strategy comes. Strategy's basic characteristic is a long-term perspective plan. Therefore, so any kind of goals which are long-term in nature for the organizations, that would lead in line with its vision is strategy. And the strategy also encompasses the core processes. The core process generally consists of identifying goals, analyzing the environment, strategy formulation, implementation and evaluation. So what is first is identify what are the goals and analyze the opportunities that are available nearby and also in future. When I say that it is a long-term perspective plan, it should always have the ability of calculating the future also. What is going to happen in the next 5 years should be the capability of management. Otherwise it is difficult. Strategy cannot be done. And the strategy is not forecasting. And the strategy is not something like astrology. Strategy has got 100% dependence on the facts, present facts that are existing, and also the vision and also the expectation of management based on these facts. Mix it together, you design the goals. What could be the goals? Goals are long-term perspective objectives are goals, and the short-term perspectives are objectives. So, the goals, analyzing the environment, both internal and external, both domestic and international, and then prepare the strategy formulation, and then prepare the plan, implement and evaluate. After implementation, evaluation comes because there could be every chances that your strategy formulation may go wrong or may become unfit to the developed environment, to the changed environment in the next years to come. Okay, what are the key components of strategic management here? Strategic intent, that is defining the mission and vision. We need to be very, very careful because many companies fail at the stage of preparing vision itself. I know I want to do business, but I don't know what could be my expectation, what could be my future. Most of the times we keep hearing people saying that I had some money, so I don't know, I asked my friends and they suggested me, I started this business. It is by luck. It is by luck. You may get succeeded or you may not get succeeded. But in case of strategy, it is 100%, almost 90% guarantee is there that you will be definitely successful. Because your approach is 100% sound. Then, after that analysis, using tools like SWOT analysis to understand the competitive landscape. Most of you, I think, know about SWOT analysis. It is also TOWS or SWOT. Both are available. Absolutely. Strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. If you reverse them, threats, opportunities, weaknesses and strengths. It is the difference in approach. What type of approach that the organization would like to have? Do you want to start with your strengths first? Or identify the threats and then identify your strengths to combat threats? It is up to the organization. Organization's fundamental philosophy would definitely give you the way, which type of, whether SWOT or TOWs to be used. Then implementation, allocating resources and structuring the organizations to execute plans. So once the SWOT analysis is done, organization is confirmed, organization is definite about what type of business and what type of organization it is going to be. Then the resource allocation, whether it is human resources or financial resources or material resources or in fact information resources can also be shared. And evaluation, monitoring the progress and making the adjustments. What are the benefits of strategic management? The benefits are, it helps businesses adapt to changes, increases profitability, and provides a competitive advantage. Competitive advantage, Michael Porter created. Core competence was developed by Coimbatore Krishna Rao Prahalad. C.K. Prahalad is an Indian origin. IIM Ahmedabad faculty. Later on joined Harvard Business School as a faculty member and became the world famous management gurus as we think of them today. C.K. Prahalad is the father of core competence. And Michael Porter is the one who developed the concept of competitive advantage. Competitive advantage indicates in which area are you strong? What are your strong areas? What are your strengths basically? And exploit those strengths and then compete in the business, you will be successful. Instead of trying to acquire new competencies which may not be relevant to compete in the market. And that again goes back and decides your strategic management, which tells that, as we said, SWOT analysis. Find out your strength, and from the strength you start business. Based on the strength, you start your business, and therefore your business will be more successful. You will have complete hold on your business. Otherwise, it is difficult. So, taking that fundamental principle, Michael Porter created a new concept called competitive advantage. And it is not just enough to be successful in by taking competitive advantage, and it is also equally important that you must know what are your basic internal strengths. It is a strength is by virtue of your practice. That is what the competitive advantage is. But a core competence is those competences which internal to the organization, which have evolved on their own. For example, based on the philosophy, as I am telling you, the Marwadi business, essentially, they have this practice. So naturally, if that is your core competence, then why don't you start a finance company? When you have that. This is how the thought, or this is how the business decisions must go on. Then, It is critical discipline for ensuring an organization is proactive rather than reactive to market changes. Market changes, the organizations must be proactive, like sensing that the changes are going to take place in the market in the next couple of years, getting ready today itself. Inactive, active, reactive, proactive. So as the organizations move, they should reach to the level of proactiveness. Then, look at the importance of strategic management in supply chain. Strategic management in supply chain is providing from cost efficiency for building a resilience, resilient, digitally enabled and sustainable networks. So strategic management exclusively focuses in strengthening the supply chain activities in the organization in terms of building strength, resilient, building strength, building withstanding capability of your supply chain. So that, because withstanding capability is because by virtue of a supply chain, by virtue of organization's scope, organizations do not have any control over suppliers or customers. Customer market, earlier we started with the controlled market, then we are now in a completely highly dynamic open market where no player, no organization can influence any customer. Perfect competition. Many buyers and many sellers. So absolutely, you have no control over customers. On the other side, you have no control over suppliers also. In this kind of very sensitive or volatile situation, how some strategic management is going to create a strong kind of building strong relations among all the players in the supply chain process. That is important. By making your strategic management, strategic leadership, strategic capabilities, strategic planning, all this should be informed to everyone in the supply chain process so that they appreciate and add value to your strategic vision and therefore get continuously connected with the main organization on supply chain. It is by motivating, by inspiring the partners rather than forcing them to be in the supply chain connectivity. Key future trends for 25 to 30 include all AI-driven automation for predictive analytics, end-to-end visibility via blockchain for transparency, and IoT for the real-time visibility. So we talked about IoT can be used here in strategic management. Artificial intelligence can also be used in that. Then predictive analysis is very, very important. You just give the data to artificial intelligence and feed it, ChatGPT or in any form. Automatically, you will get the analysis, total analysis as to how your business is going to be in the next 5 years or 10 years. Based on that, your strategy can also be changed. Your management perspective in terms of strategy can also be changed. So that you will have, instead of human evaluation, human confirmation. The confirmation is done based on certain most influential technological instruments or technological advancements, which helps the organizations in being definite about the future. What is going to be the future of organization in next 5 years or 10 years? Tata's, for example, all their businesses consumed much bigger size of land. There is steel plants or maybe power plants or whatever. Salt processing units require huge land. All these are on one side today. TCS is on the other side, which doesn't require much land. In fact, everything is work from home, virtual. But of all the companies of Tata flagship, TCS is the one which is highly promising and more profitable companies. Look at the kind of difference. So now what happens? Tatas have reframed their strategy based on the conditions that are existing. They have totally redesigned their strategy for the whole Tata Sons, and today maximum share of TCS is there in Tata Sons than in Tisco, than any other company of theirs. This is the change. This very, very highly visible change in the market brought a pressure on redesigning their strategy. So Tata, when you look at Tata Sons strategy, the Tata Sons Limited, which holds 100% control on all the businesses they do, including Air India and Air India Express or whatever, even Salt. Now, because of this new definition of strategic management, the whole organization have defined the entire strategy, and in fact they changed their vision also differently. And today, because they were proactive, because they knew about the future, because they were very, very cautious about the changes in future, Tatas, even today, are the most influential company, business households in India. We know a movie called Tata Birla, a very funny movie, but Birla is not that influential in business today, like Tatas. Tatas still have that kind of influence, not just as a business entity, but it is also a highly respected business household in the minds of Indian customers. Right? This is what exactly the AI-driven and then technology-driven, because of new technologies of information technology or IT sector booming up, Tata's introduced the TCS, and therefore TCS is the most influential company. Many TCS employees are my students, and they all come and say that, sir, getting job in TCS is like getting government job. Only difference between government and TCS is, in TCS you have to work, in government you need not work. You get your money. All that you need to do is, in government, check whether you got salary or not. But in TCS, the leadership is wonderful here. The strategy of Tata's is, don't leave any employee out. Don't send out any employee. Retain every employee. Retrain every employee, reuse every employee. That is the strategy of Tata's. And therefore They will not leave you till you rise to the level of competence, till you gain additional knowledge, till you improve your skills. Training on training, continuously they will give, and finally see that you are up to the mark. You know, this has got a national spirit also. This Tatas always have the philosophy of treating every employee as the most important citizen of the nation. Therefore, even if a useless employee is there, training him more and more will be helpful to the nation. Because I am able to redefine a person for the sake of nation is something good. So this is how the organizations think of and build their strategies on philosophy. So therefore, new technology comes, automatically this new companies would evolve, and these companies at one point of time become the most influential contributor to the success of the whole organization. Companies are shifting to circular sustainability, agile and localized networks to mitigate disruptions and risks. So what the companies are doing now is moving to the circular sustainability. Circular sustainability here means that making every part in the entire business circle most vibrant, most competitive, most efficient. This directly applies to supply chain management, where you find the circular kind of the networking among all the people important in the supply chain, like suppliers, wholesalers, retailers, customers, traders, all these people, all are linked together, and everyone contributes for everybody's strength. Improving the strength of MRF tires by an automobile company is equally important to that of MRF company supporting the automobile company in manufacturing redesigned or most market-friendly products like cars. And similarly, having a perfect network with dealers, stockists, retailers, and so on, by way of explicitly mutually agreed terms and conditions. Therefore, no dealer or no supportive or no element in the entire supply chain process gets neglected, and all of them are in the inclusive platform. Therefore, the sustainability of every segment in the total supply chain becomes the responsibility of the rest of the others. Then agile and localized networks to mitigate disruptions and risks. That is efficiency, capacity building. Improving your capacity and making use of localized networks. Localized networks means probably even starting from local televisions right up to the level of internationally matured kind of communication networks. And local advertising agencies can also be used, or local publicity components can also be used, or using the local network chains that are created by local governments can also be used, and that should be linked up to the international kind of supply chain networks. Therefore, the best connectivity will be assured. And this is all to be done for reducing the risks that come out of encountering disruptions in the process. Any kind of disturbances or disruptions or hurdles that are observed, that are encountered in the total process of supply chain management can be managed very easily with the sustainable kind of circular sustainability and agility, and then the using of local networks. Strategic management provides a strong, well-designed and sustained plan of action to a company which can quickly adapt to past changes in the market. It's a very general statement, because the very characteristic of strategic management is to strengthen the base of every organization, both in terms of leadership, in terms of management, in terms of vision, in terms of decision making, etc., and thereby make the organizations more stronger, because the very nature of strategic management is long-term perspective, and the strategic management is designed and defined and confirmed based on the present and future facts. Strategic management also indicates the areas of strength where the company can be developed further. This is again core competencies. As the organizations move further with one particular business, by virtue of experience, by virtue of longevity in market areas, companies do gain certain internal core strengths. And these core strengths, for example, Xerox Corporation. Xerox Corporation is the one which is responsible for introducing Six Sigma approach and total quality management. When they introduced this, they did not know that they have the capability, but they realized after the getting success of these two concepts, then they said, yes, it is our copyright. Till then they did not know. They had the core competence, the basic fundamental, like the invisible competence in the organization, as the company over a period of time became the world leader, world market leader. And genuinely, certain new competencies have been developed by the organizations in their own network, in their own system. And they realized that and then they introduced these two concepts. Zero defect. Precision production. Zero defect. They are the approaches which are followed by every organization today. If you keep two cars, similar cars, same brand, same manufacturer, and measure them, not even a fraction of an inch will be different. It is exactly the same as the car. This is called precision production. This precision production is very, very important to make your product identical anywhere. So all these are all possible only with the strategic management. Now, where are we going? From strategic management, from the perspective of strategic management, if you look at and examine supply chain activity in the organization, we are moving towards, even the strategic management started making changes in it. That is resilience over cost. Due to global disruptions, strategies have shifted to diversifying the suppliers, reshoring, nearshoring, or enhancing capacity enhancement. How? Due to global disruptions, global changes in the conditions, and global changes in the economies, changes in the global economies, changes in the global market conditions have brought in so much of pressure on strategic management that strategic management of every company is now looking at it in a different perspective of making use of diversifying the suppliers. Exactly the same thing that Indian government is using. We have been purchasing oil from Russia. That is objected by Trump. Immediately Trump asked Modi to stop this. Modi said no. Then he raised the tariffs against Indian imports. Again, India was invited to Peace Club. Modi rejected it. And again Trump said, nothing doing. Then we are going to further increase the tariffs against India. You know what Modi did? Within a week's time, he made a visit to China. Do you know that? Last month, he made a visit to China. That gave the signals, fearing signals, both to Pakistan and America. Very next day, our external minister visited Russia, spoke to them, and he started making all kinds of efforts. And immediately Modi visited Dubai. You know why? Looking for alternate oil suppliers. Then, to disrupt this bilateral agreement, Trump created another incident, threat, declaring war against Iran, so that that entire sea line will get disturbed, and therefore India cannot get oil from Saudi Arabia. Look at how much global the political influences. Then what is happening? Then how do we get oil? If that happens there, if oil supply from Russia is completely stopped because of this political conditions existing outside India, against India, petrol price will increase by another 10%, 10 rupees here. What is there? Where is that and where is Kakinada? What kind of influence is this? That is global influence. That is global influence. So in this kind of global disruptions, how I always try to diversify my suppliers. That is what Modi did. It is not good for the economy to totally depend only on Russia. Let me also shift my focus to Saudi or some other oil countries and try to extract oil from there. And I continue to get a less amount of oil from Russia and slowly start increasing my trade with southern Gulf countries. This is the... So similarly, organizations will also have the same kind of perspective wherein they identify their suppliers and totally cannot depend only on one company. For genuine reasons also. All of a sudden, because of internal disarrangement or internal mismanagement, if company fails to supply the product that I require, what will happen to my business? It's very logical. What will happen to my business? So therefore, I will have to change my business. I keep concentrating on the suppliers also. That is the point. So therefore, resilience over cost. I must have complete control, complete kind of check on the cost of production, or cost of maintenance, or cost of human resource, or cost of anything. So that should be then the change in the strategic vision. And similarly, it applies to supply chain management also. Then the customer centricity. Adopting personalized, fast delivery models to meet a high consumer demand for speed and customization. omni-channel. You know, some of you must be aware that you can get products manufactured by the company directly from the company, directly from the manufacturer. There are a number of advertisements that are coming in YouTube and other social media, where the companies are directly selling the product to direct customer. No middlemen involved. Like air conditioners or any other product that you would like to, or maybe kitchen utensils, or the equipment that we use, or water purifiers, or air coolers, anything, home appliances, or anything that, including medicine today. Medicine can also be purchased online directly from Reddy Labs. You don't need MediPlus, the Apollo, all these things. Why the companies are coming directly to the customer, end user? Reduce the cost. And at the same time, build a kind of strong relations and a wonderful network between the company and the organization, company and the customers. Right? This is one example, where adopting the personalized and fast delivery models, such as Omni model, where the Omni channel, where the company has got its own channel. You can directly order from the company. Heritage, for example. Heritage supplies products to all the outlets, but at the same time, Heritage also has an outlet in front of their own factory. Every company follows that. Even MRF, manufacturing Madras rubber factory. MRF manufactures tires. They have a retail outlet in front of their plant. So what is happening is, with the help of this high power technology, the organizations are able to meet the customers directly. With the comparatively less population in the previous days, it was very difficult for the organizations to reach out to the customers. And today, in spite of increased population, the organizations are able to reach to the individual customers. That is because of technological market. So, customer centricity. Then sustainability and ethics. Implement the triple bottom line: social, environment and economic. And adhering to strict environment, society and governance regulations. The next one is human-machine collaboration. What all we do in terms of technology, in terms of all kinds of advancements that we are talking about for the success and excellence of organizations, it is essentially the result of combination of human being and machine. Without a machine, human being cannot work, and without human being, machine cannot run. So the combination of human-machine collaboration is a wonderful thing that is shifting the workforce from manual firefighting to the AI-driven or data-driven decision-making and so on. Today, I made this presentation. If I don't have laptop, if I don't have pen drive, if I don't have any other gadget except the brain, probably my presentation would not be at least to this level. It would have been much different. And today, these are the things which are supporting us in making our presentation more meaningful, more probably reaching to the customers and so on. We started academic career with everything to be written on the blackboard. 1989. Then, with a short period, we started using glass boards. Earlier it was only blackboard. Then the glass board, glass is there, on the glass you write. After that, we started using overhead projectors, OHPs. Put a slide, display it, A4 size sheet is there, plastic sheet, and that you write everything. And meanwhile, printer came in, printer facility was given. So we used to print our material on the sheet and then put it on the OHP. Then we used to feel, oh, this is so much of very good technology, this and that. After that, we started going for OHPs, overhead projectors, right? And after this, wall mount projectors came in, LCDs came in. Today, wireless equipment have come, and I can monitor anything on the slide by using it. But now the new technology is, as you think, it will change it. Whatever you think, this should not be like this should be in a reverse position, means it will automatically change. That is the technology we are now living in. So where is chalk piece? Chalk piece has gone. Blackboard has gone. Everything has gone now. Even this is also not going to be there for a long time. Now we start giving notes to my students because everything is through WhatsApp. Tomorrow is examination. Today evening I will send all material through WhatsApp. Conduct of examination has become paperless. Valuation has become paperless. What not? Lots of things. Imagine all this human being is able to do with the support of machine. Suppose sudden failure of total network, what will happen? That is what happened to aeroplanes in the recent times, where network failure. So all reservations, all flights and everything, timing, display, instructions, information, everything got stopped. And you are sitting in the airport for flight to come. Flight did not come. Even flight came, no announcement that the flight came, you don't know. Nothing. You were in completely dark. And as far as possible, viewing this, expecting this kind of turbulence in future, data centers are going to be created. Alternative mechanisms are also going to be developed. So today, in case of supply chain, these alternative mechanisms are going to be developed in terms of creating the parallel supply chain management is coming up now. It is not just one single supply chain connectivity that is sufficient for the organizations. There should also be a similar parallel supply chain network which should be developed and maintained as a backup. Now when you look at the key interfaces between the strategic management and the supply chain in future. First thing is a digital transformation, as we discussed in the morning. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are impacting by enhancing the predictive capabilities, optimizing inventory and enabling autonomous decisions. Therefore, Therefore, the strategic decisions taken by the management of every organization should always be based on the AI support, based on machine learning kind of support, with continuously enhancing, measuring the present capability of human resources in the organization, and measuring the capability of total organization person, and the resilience over efficiency. That means sustainable capacity for improving your efficiency in performance, such as strategies have shifted from just in time to just in case. Just in case, prioritizing resilience through multi-sourcing, near-shoring, and risk-bearing kind of capacities. Where just in time is a older concept. It had a very influence earlier. It had played a key role in the success of organization. At the same time today, after the tremendous developments in technology, the same just in time is not any more advantageous. Therefore, just in case, that is case by case. It is not the time that is important, but a particular case is important. Case here is customer. Who is my customer? Deal with the individual customer and approach him as the customer raises any complaints. The company should be ready to answer and ready to react to such kind of complaints, and see to that the customer doesn't leave away from the customer network of my company. So, therefore, it is not time that is important, it is the customer who is very, very important. When customer becomes important, time is not a matter. Because what I need is my customer. And earlier, customer expectation was that a company is more efficient in terms of the time taken by the company to supply a product or service. But today, customer tranquility is important. It is not customer support, that is customer satisfaction that is always important to me. It is customer's tranquility, customer's delight, customer's satisfaction, highest level. That is important to me now. So therefore, resilience, capacity building over efficiency. Then, sustainability and circularity. Focus on eco-friendly practices, carbon reduction, and circular economy models to meet regulatory and consumer demands. So this is this you can see in terms of the Amazon packing. Packing used by Amazon. Of course, packing used by most of the companies today. Waterproof, protective, and they fill with air and then make it bulky, but the product is very small. You know why? To protect the product from moisture. Such kind of care is taken not only with regard to product, but also supply of material from one place to the other. The best example, earlier this practice was there, but we never coined as the efficiency of supply chain management. We used to get in a place called Chittoor, that was the first district in the state to start a milk processing unit. Chittoor dairy is very, very famous. And they started milk processing unit, a very huge company. And after getting success, they also started cheese plant or guava plant and so many other things. The plant milk supply was just moderate, and they wanted more milk, and therefore they started using the very simple supply chain mechanism of engaging the dealers for collection of milk and then supplying to the company. After that, when the milk was processed, the milk was supposed to be transported to different locations in the country. Imagine. I'm talking about 80s and 90s. Out of 6 trucks, on an average, supplied by the company to Kerala, 2 of them got spoiled. And this has been the practice. They call it as very simply by name, using the name called pilferage or natural damage, and natural like a disruption to product. So therefore, they used to put this cost amount on the rest of 4 trucks and charge heavily. That led to tremendous chaos, tremendous failure of the company in terms of business. This is essentially was identified as a supply chain failure, where the trucks that were carrying milk were not up to the mark, they were not properly designed, they are not properly manufactured. Then, from that difficulty, innovation came that the internal flash that coverage is given like a fridge, that what you call, you install a compressor and create a kind of artificial or maybe mobile kind of cooling places, and therefore milk used to be put in that controlled cool temperature. The milk was supplied without any disturbance. This is the beginning of supply chain refinement in our side, particularly in Indian continent. Though the concept of supply chain was vibrantly practiced in the rest of the world, and slowly, lots of, for example, conveyor belts that are used in coal mines or iron ore companies, etc., where the supply of movement of raw material from one place to the other manually becomes very, very cost exorbitant and time taking. Therefore, the conveyor belts were introduced, and thereby you see the coal is continuously supplied on the conveyor belt, and automatically there is a continuity in production without any disturbance. Starting from there, today we have even crossed beyond the CNC machines, computer numerically controlled machines, which used to operate and control the entire large machines, which were used in companies like BHEL and L&T or EML and so on. With a small computerized device, you are able to control the whole machine. You are able to move the machine. You are able to make the machine work. And from there now, today the whole thing has changed with the adoption of the latest technological developments. And obviously, it will have a greater impact on the supply chain management mechanism also. Now, visibility and technology integration, where adoption of digital twins, cloud-based platforms, and IoT, Internet of Things, provides end-to-end visibility, allowing for proactive disruptions. So, vision and technology are combined together. Then automation and the last mile delivery, where warehouses are incorporating robotics, while drones and autonomous vehicles are revolutionizing last mile delivery. That means the customer end point is important. Earlier, I'll give very small examples which can make you realize quickly. The earlier days, the milk supplier used to come in one particular point in a town, maybe in one area, where all the customers are expected to come early in the morning, pick up their milk and then get back. This we have seen. And today, there is absolutely no such kind of difficulty, because everything is door delivery. Everything, including your eating items, also door delivery. Everything is coming to the end point of the customer. That is the last mile delivery. And what about the automation? Automation in the organizations, very particularly in supply chain mechanisms, you find the robotics that are used, identify, or suppose you require about 10,000 components to manufacture a car, and the nut and bolt or any kind of small equipment or minute or bigger component that is required, all that you need to do is just press the button and give the instruction to robot, and it will go and search and pick up that product and give it to you. Then it is easy for you. This is the kind of technology. And similarly, these robots are also used in checking the entire supply chain process efficiency also. So thereby, I have a continuous check on supply chain management, that the chain itself and the process, and ultimately find out if there are any defects in supply chain, not only in terms of conveyor belt or physical form of supply chain, but also the invisible aspects of supply chain can also be identified as quickly as possible, so that the treatment or the necessary repairs or mechanism corrective actions can be done then and there itself. Then smart and connected networks. All said and done, connection and retainment is also very important, where increased collaboration across supply chain supported by technologies like blockchain for secure, transparent data sharing. So data sharing is also very, very important now. In fact, in the next days to come, in future, you will definitely experience that your data becomes more sensitive than yourself. Your data becomes more sensitive than your own product. Your data becomes more sensitive than your own priorities. Data is going to have that much vibrance. So many precautions, so many instructions are being given, advices are given by different kinds of organizations, including government now, that don't respond to suspicious messages. Don't respond to unknown numbers. Don't respond to so like this. Because the data or anything that is available with you. Now money is not very important. Data is very important. If I know about the data about you, I can twist you in any form I like. Right? Next. Therefore, the strategic focus on supply chain management for the future is resilient forecast, supplier diversification, customer centricity and sustainability as a strategy. So what is important in this? One or two points we have already discussed. And let me talk about sustainability as a strategy. As such, strategy itself is a long-term perspective. Obviously, the expectation is sustainability. If I cannot sustain in my business, sustain in my supply chain efficiency, sustain in my overall kind of performance in the market, I don't need to have any strategy further. If I need to have strategy means sustainability becomes the root point for my success. Sustainability becomes a root point for my performance. And therefore, sustainability must be taken as the most important. Whether I get low profits, in some organizations are there, when the profits come down, they immediately make a survey and then shift or diversify the business, or maybe amalgamation, absorb from reconstruction, all the kinds of activities they try to think of to see that the present organization changes. When the profits increase further, they also have lose the quality of sustainability, and they think that they try to diversify the business by investing money in different other businesses. Maybe vertical integration or horizontal integration or backward integration or forward integration, whatever. So in both sides, organizations have this volatile kind of mindset. So what strategy says is, even in case of losses or profits, you should have a very strong and 100% complete control over your present business. Therefore, it serves two advantages. Number one is that your mind doesn't get distorted. The management doesn't get distorted in terms of diversification or closure of a company. And the second one is the company becomes more and more stronger, becomes a market leader in its own present business. Therefore, strategy has such a kind of high capability of sustainability, which is environment, society and governance. ESG criteria are no longer peripheral. They now dictate supplier selection and network design to meet regularity and consumer demands for green chains. Green chains means healthy chains. A perfect long-term sustainable relations among all the players in the entire supply chain circle should be the priority of every component in the supply chain, including the main business organization. Now, with this, looking at being conscious of environment and societal demands and the government regulations, the organizations should have that kind of complete tie-up. Therefore, they will be able to move further and make a kind of perfect match between strategic management and supply chain. Next, the key strategic management intersections such as resilience over efficiency. So what is important is not efficiency, but it is capacity to withstand. Improving your capacity further than creating efficiency, 90% machine usage or 70% like plant usage, all these plant capacity usage and all these things are misnomer now. Out of this 70%, how much percentage are you able to sustain yourself? Are you able to maintain yourself even in the disastrous conditions? That is the point. So that is what resilience is. Data-driven decision making. So whatever the data that is available, whatever the data that is to be used, and these data are supposed to be driven towards improving the efficiency of supply chain by making your strategic management more effective. Sustainability, compliance, then talent upskilling, as we already discussed, like enhancing the skills and knowledge of employees at the bottom level and therefore see the entire workforce in the organization becomes more vibrant and strategic in terms of making the organization stronger. Next. Let me just show you one more. That the design is very, very important. Just go to the last slide. Because ultimately stop there. Stop those 10. Right. So top future trends when you look at strategic management influences supply chain management. Supply chains are going green. So supply chain is becoming more user friendly, more dynamic, more efficient, and more cost efficient. Increased use of automation is mandatory, that every strategic management decisions are supposed to be based on the data-driven artificial intelligence or machine learning kind of the support, and ultimately as we move further, precise decision making is important. Usage of more integrations, like more number of suppliers, more number of, suppose a company cannot maintain supply chain only with one supplier, only with one kind of customers. So more number of customers or more number of suppliers, and making a perfect integration network among suppliers is important as equal to that of bringing network of customers. Usage of blockchain technology, increased production of customized products, IoT usage, resilience and risk management. All these 10 which are very common. These 10 characteristics are 10, this is called demand-driven adaptive enterprise model, TDAE. This model dictates that all these 10 qualities are there with strategic management. Eventually, it will definitely influence supply chain efficiency. Then ultimately, both the supply chain management and strategic management will go hand in hand and be together for the success of organizations. This is very, very important. Look at how the organizations are going to be. This is what the circular supply chain is. This is adopted, but then it will give a lot of the meaning. See, look at the suppliers. Materials come from different suppliers, and the materials are processed in the manufacturer level, and then the final distribution is done. Supply chain doesn't relate only to distribution. It has got all these different points. Look at the very interesting thing. From manufacturer, again distribution center. From distribution to final destination, that is the customer or consumer. So, in between the manufacturer and customer, you have so many people, suppliers, stockists, warehouses, network, like inventory departments or wholesalers, lots of other people. And from there, after usage, after the need satisfaction with the usage of product, then waste comes out, that is thrown out. And anything from the waste which can be recycled, it will go back to the manufacturer again. This is the wider and broader scope of supply chain. Supply chain, as we think, or if we may think that it is limited only from manufacturer to customer, that is wrong. That is only 50% or maybe 40%. The rest of 60% includes waste management, recycling of unused product or the product which can be used, or maybe particles of product. This is where the old products are purchased. If you want to sell your car, there is a beautiful example, like boy and father and son. Son would like to, like father would like to retain the old car, which is very, very like a vintage car. And son says there is no place to keep it here, therefore we will sell it. Then father told him, Okay, you first go and find out from the that is Mudri shop, that waste material they purchase. Then that fellow sees the car and he says, I'll give 5,000 rupees for this car. And the next fellow says, and father asked the boy to go to another person, go to he reselling of cars, that business is there. No? So he asked the son to go there and display the car there. Then that fellow says, okay, this is very good car, fine, everything is fine. Okay, I don't mind giving 50,000 rupees for this. Then father again instructs the son, go to another shop, go to different dealers and go to the original car owner, go to the dealer and show the car. And the dealer says, this is a wonderful car. We don't get these some of the parts in this. Therefore, I need these parts. I will pay you for that. The car which was supposed to be thrown out for no money is getting 5 lakh rupees. And that fellow uses that car, the dealer, as a vintage car. He sells it for 10 lakhs. Market is very wide. Market is very wide. And in the similar fashion, nothing is waste. When something is going to be reused, it should be essentially taken back by the organization. Because some of the components in the product that you think is not usable for you, it may be usable for the organizations. And they take those parts and try to reassemble or put it in some other manufacturing processes. So that's how the appreciation for supply chain management can be done through this diagram, where you find a lot of the new issues that are involved in this. Okay? I'm also getting exhausted. Anyway, after lunch is a bit difficult, but we'll manage it. So, with this we come to the end of my presentation. And once again, I thank the organizers, SMS, JNTU, Kakinada, very particularly my good friends Satyanarayana and Charpak, and the host of faculty members of this department and students, more particularly the participants who have given a very patient listening to my presentation. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.